Hi, this is Crystal, the Rain Dance Ranch. I have been a prepper for a long time. However, I kept putting off doing a lot of things because I knew I was going to have to move. I had kids, I had to take them to basketball. I didn't have a lot of resources. And I actually always thought that the problem that I would face in the future would be a big economic downturn, and I just made it so that I could survive on minimum wage. And I always have stockpiled supplies and food. However, now I am seeing that I may not even be able to have a minimum wage job or even use a bank account, or I might not even be able to sell stuff online and take money. If you are seeing these things and you're prepping, or you're prepping for any reason, just for a potential disaster, for a lockdown, for 6 weeks of no electricity, like what happened in Texas, then this is the video for you. Now, of course, this is not everything that you could possibly need, but I just want to point out some good things that you could do that aren't going to cost you an arm and a leg. Okay, most of this stuff I got at the 99 cents only dollar store. And if you have shopped at the 99 cents only store, you know that not everything is 99 cents anymore. It was in the old days when it was great, and you could just be like, okay, I have 50 things in my cart. It's gonna be $50. It was really easy. And a lot of times things aren't even marked. And you can get some really, really great deals on some good stuff. So where to begin? Okay, over here. Now, these I got for my son for Christmas because he's a real foodie. And I haven't tried this one, but this is $1. And I think this is like the kind of salsa that they use at a lot of the Mexican food places around here. Like the fast food Mexican places with drive-thrus. And so I tried this one, and it's really good. And I am going to be stocking up on this, but it's not something that I'm gonna go down and drop like $30 on it. Just whenever I go in, I buy like 2 or something like that. However, next time I go in, I may buy 5 of them. And then if I end up in a long-term situation and I have access to all this stuff, well, it might only last me for so long. Because this is really the kind of thing that is just something to add zip to whatever it is you're eating. And when you're prepping, you're probably going to have a lot of beans, and you're not going to have all of the extra stuff that you might add in with that food. So you want your food to have some kind of flavor, taste, and this stuff is really good for $1. And so I thought, well, let me try the other flavors, and I'll give them to my son, and maybe he'll like them. So they have this and this one, which I held up earlier. So I'll set those aside. But yeah, so those are $1. And these at 99 cents only I think are a really good price for what they are. They really are like mega rolls. And I started buying the biggest mega rolls I could find for the best deal over the years, because for the amount of space. It's not so much that, maybe you like a particular kind and the rolls are wimpy, but it's like you go through them so fast, and these will last a little longer, but also like when they're sitting on the thing next to the toilet, they just last longer if there's more on it, obviously. But that's crucial because it's, less effort, but also they technically take up a lot less space when you're storing things. And so when you have a year's worth of toilet paper. Now also I have a lot of toilet paper that's in like a 12-pack. And those are the ones that I'm going to be using now. If I get into my supplies, those are the big packs are the ones that I'm using. And I already have a year's worth of toilet paper, but I'm going to be buying this particular one as long as it stays available at the dollar store, because this could be currency, bartering currency maybe, or maybe you just want to help people. Here's some toilet paper, and it's easier to give people a 4-pack like this than it is your big 12-pack, right? And also this one says that it is septic safe. So also the other thing you want to consider is, are these compostable? And I believe they are, and I haven't looked into it, but if that's important to you, look into it, because you may be using a composting toilet, and it would be easier to just have toilet paper that you can drop into your composting toilet, and then you put your browns in, and then this will just get composted along. And I'm assuming, this being septic safe, that this would be, but I have not looked into it, whether this is good for composting or if this has crap in it that you don't really want in your compost. Now, if you get some crap in your compost that shouldn't be there, just keep it minimal. You don't want to overload the toxicity. But compost will take care of a lot of toxicity, especially if you put charcoal in it. Over time, it will, a little bit of toxic stuff that might get into your compost is not that big of a deal as far as I'm concerned, depending on what it is. But most things that you're going to probably be accidentally getting into your compost that maybe you don't want there are not really going to be that much of a problem in the future. Okay, so I think that's enough said about that. I guess I'll just leave that there. Now, here's some more things that are things that you can get. This is $1 at the dollar store, and I bought these for my roommate for Christmas because she loves olives. And they had these 3 flavors, and these would be really nice to have on hand to add to your salads or your bland bean dishes, because I have like a bunch of dried beans and quinoa and stuff like that, and you could open these bad boys up and add a little flavor and a little bit of that meatiness that this has, the savoriness of it, plus the oils in here can be used like as a salad dressing or some kind of a dressing or a marinade, whatever. So this has good uses, and I'm sure there's some kind of health value in these, so for $1, I think these are worth the investment. Or you could just pop them out and eat them as a snack too, which, if you're an American, or pretty much anybody anywhere, who doesn't like having a convenient snack? And then I found this, something like this also maybe it would taste good mixed with the juice in here as a dressing or a marinade, or just something a little different on your pasta. But I wouldn't recommend buying depending on how much money and space you have, these are just kind of like the little extra things that you can get that are cheap, that kind of go with a lot of different things. And then also, I like this kind of pasta. This actually gives you a lot of bang for your buck. Like, usually when I make a meal for myself, I use about this much, like down to the red line. So maybe 1/3 of this is enough for, like, if all you're eating is pasta with spaghetti sauce, 1/3 of this container will definitely fill up a person. And some people even a little less than that. Like, you could easily cut this between 4 people if that's all you have, and everybody could have a real satisfying meal. And they cook really fast, or they soften really fast. So we really like these, and these were $1. These are not at the dollar store though. These were at the Middle Eastern store, and they were actually like $1.29. But I think this is well worth it, because I don't like any of the pastas at the dollar store. I mean, if you like them, great, get them at the dollar store. But I don't like the pastas at the dollar store that I go to. Also, I love, you know what, I should pull them out. Let me pull them out right here. I always have these, because I love these, but I don't use them for everything. But these slider bags at the dollar store, I think these are $1, but they might be like $1.99. I don't recall. But it's still a pretty good deal at the dollar store. If you can find these, they don't always have them in stock. And I just, right now, I probably have easily enough to last me a year, because I don't use them for every single thing, but they are just come in handy for some things. So I have quite a bit of these, and I'm just kind of buying them, one or two, if they have them in stock. But if you see these, you want them and they're in stock, get them, because they're not always in stock, and it's a real pain in the butt to try to, you know, just hope when you want them, they're just not readily available anymore. If you like those. And they come in gallon bags too, and I always try to have a few gallon bags of these. They just come in handy for so many things in addition to cooking. Let me tell you what I would use them for, is like grapes or something like that, that you don't necessarily store it and then you're going to eat the whole thing when you pull it out of the refrigerator. And so you can keep them in this bag, and then it's just easy to get in and out of the bag for something that you go into like 5 times. I'm sure, and it's also good for other utilitarian purposes. Like I use these to store seeds in, and I keep them organized. Like I have one of these bags filled with all tomato seeds, another bag filled with all basil seeds, that kind of thing. So like I said, I used to be kind of like snobby about my storage bags, and it's just such a waste of money, and these are fine. So these are like the gallon size, and so for $1 you get 50 of these bags, and I probably have 10 of these, and these could possibly last me over a year. But however, if you're in a prepper situation, you're probably going to be cooking all the time, if you can. I mean, who knows what it's going to be like, but hopefully you'll be able to be wherever you are, and you will be able to cook food and store stuff in the refrigerator or whatever. And again, there could be many other uses for these. You can cut them open and use them like as saran wrap if you're out of saran wrap. And the other thing, you guys, is this stuff is all readily available now, super cheap, but prices are going up. And there could come a time when shit's just not available. It happened in Russia. It happened in communist, behind the Iron Curtain. I know people that lived behind the Iron Curtain. People in Cuba, they come over here and they're like, oh my God, you have all this stuff that we would love to have, and they can't have it. Okay? And whether or not our country becomes full-on communist, whatever they're doing, the number one way to suppress people and keep them under your thumb in terms of a tyrannical government, whatever you want to call them, it doesn't matter if they're communist. It's oppressive. They don't want you to have stuff, right? And maybe in America it'll only be there's just going to be shortages, so you just have to go to the store all the time if there's something you want to check and see, because that's what I've been doing for the last year, is like, when are you going to have that in? We'll check back after Tuesday. That's when the truck comes in. You know, that kind of thing. These little fold top sandwich bags are really great too. And I use these too, like, for, like if I eat something out of a can, and I'm like, I'll have something for lunch. Like I'll have refried beans in a burrito for lunch. And so if that's what I have for lunch, at dinner I'll have I'll use the rest of the beans later, but I'm not going to transfer all that stuff into a container. It's fine sitting in the refrigerator for half a day, right? And so then I just grab one of these and I just plunk it in the can and cover it up. And I know that's not new to anybody, to most people, but if you hadn't thought of it, or you don't like to do that, which I never used to. I used to be real snobby about that stuff. That's a really good method to, and then you don't have those containers to clean, right? Or you can transfer stuff out of a can and you can still put it in here if it's just a little amount, rather than in a container that you have to clean in case there's not a lot of water, right? Unfortunately, these are not disposable, or I mean disposable. These are not compostable. Okay, and then also more on plastics. Okay, I used to be real snobby about garbage bags too, but now I am stocking up on these. And I have a relatively large garbage can. I mean, for a kitchen, it's kind of like the larger kind, I guess, or it's probably the average kind. Look at all that garbage. Okay, so I had another garbage can that was slightly smaller than this. And some people may have one that's slightly smaller than this, but if you have one slightly smaller than this, or about as big as this, that 15-gallon thing of garbage bags will work. And you can even fit like the 10-gallon ones. I think they come in 10-gallon. But the 10-gallon ones don't quite go all the way to the bottom, and then you put stuff in it and it falls down. You've probably experienced something like that with a bag that's too small. This one works really good with that. So, and again, I used to buy really expensive stuff, and not anymore. The thing is you just want to stock up on like a bunch of these for a year or two. Like go, okay, I empty the garbage 5 days a week, so I'm gonna need 5 of these a week. So how many am I gonna need for the year? And or how many am I gonna need for 2 years? If you at least get to your 1 year point, then you save these and you go back to using those awesome ones that you like until they're no longer available or you can't afford to buy them. However, I don't even think it's worth it. You're just throwing the stuff away. And these work pretty good. And they are a little on the wimpy side, but they work fine. Once I switched over to these, I was like, these are just totally fine. I don't know why I was so snobby for so many years. And now I have at least a year's worth of these already, or similar ones. Okay, and it was easy to do. If I was depending on buying those expensive ones, the kind that I really like, and to tell you the truth, I don't even like them anymore. They kind of disgust me, the price of them. But I do have some nicer ones for times when you need something a little more durable. If whatever those cases may be, I'm not going to analyze it. Shampoo, I really like the pump kind. And I mean, you go to Walgreens or regular grocery stores, like these are like... I don't know. It's been I can't remember, but last year I bought some at like Walgreens, I think, and they had these pump things on, and I bought that Aussie kind, and they were like $10 or something, and which isn't ridiculous because for me this lasts like 6 months, but something this size would last me 6 months. So 2 of these would get me alone through the year, and probably a little longer. I could, you know, if you wanted to, you could just be a little more conservative with your use of this somehow. And you could probably stretch it out longer than that. But you know what? You're going to want shampoo. And I think this is a great price for something that actually works. Again, I really like that Aussie stuff. And I've used this before and it's just okay. But they were out of the Aussie shampoo at the dollar store. And sometimes they have it at the dollar store. I think I got some for about this price, a big container of it. And I bought 2 of them. It was all they had. The big pump kind. Again, you could keep your pump and buy the kind that don't have the pump and then transfer it over, but that's a real pain in the butt. I'm an American. I like convenience. But I realize that not everything is going to be like that in the future. Here's another thing. This is not at the dollar store though, but I have found that this is a really nice thing to add to your preps. It lasts really long in storage. And, you know, it's very dry. So the chances of it going bad are pretty slim, although it could get bugs in it. Although I don't know if the bugs would really be all that attracted to this stuff. But this is a nice thing to have to just add to all kinds of things, just to add a little flavor. And I know there's like spices and stuff, and I have a bunch of those too. We're not talking about that right now, but it's just one of those other little niceties that I think is a nice thing to add, but it's also something that you could add to like tomatoes, right? And then you can get a little extra calories and feel a little more like you ate something that you're used to. So if you're down to just growing food in the garden, like this is kind of a nice thing to add into salads or on tomatoes or whatever. I actually sometimes put it on my pasta because, you know, there's just not enough breadiness in pasta. But it just kind of adds a little something to pretty much everything. I think this is kind of like what they use for like that green bean salad. I never made that. Nobody in my family ever made that green bean salad thing that everybody has on Thanksgiving, which I actually have tried it and I don't mind that. So again, if you have a bunch of canned green beans, you could try to emulate some kind of a dish like that if that's something you like. But yeah, and those are relatively cheap too, those breadcrumbs. Okay, here's some more stuff I found at the dollar store. I love these Kalamata olives. And I really love these artichoke hearts. And these little cans are kind of handy too to keep for various things. Or jars, I should say. $1 piece. Now, I have not gone in and bought like 100 of these. I have maybe 6 of them. And they're probably not going to go that far. But again, this is another thing that has good flavor that you can, and it has that savoriness and, I don't know, the meaty, satisfying thing. And there's health benefits to it too, you know, and calories. But, you know, this juice can act as a marinade or a salad dressing, and you could mix this with tomatoes and green beans and then put some of this on it. I mean, it's really tricky to find good things from cans and jars that aren't like absolute junk food, right? And that actually makes things taste acceptable. And this is kind of one of them. So now I was just at the dollar store and they were totally out of these. And I hope they have more coming in because I usually get 1 or 2 whenever I go to the dollar store. I mean, actually, sometimes I don't get any, but I just always check. And depending on what I'm getting, what I'm stocking up on. And I don't remember seeing these, but I haven't looked for them because I used to not buy olives. And I don't know why. I think I thought about it, but I just didn't. And but they have a lot of different kinds of olives. So I think the olives, the artichoke hearts, whatever. You look in that section for stuff that you like that will add that pizzazz and flavor to things, and throw a little bit of that in. They have this Lady Speed Stick with no aluminum. I don't like to use deodorants with aluminum. However, I do have some just because they are cheap and readily available. And I mean, people don't like these because they don't work as good, but you know, that aluminum is really bad for you. And, I used to buy this other kind that's really expensive and I love it. I can't think of the name of it. It's kind of like something you got at Sprouts and it was like $10. I don't think it was that much, but it was expensive. And they stopped carrying it at Sprouts, and I think you can buy it online, but I just don't have the money. So I found these aluminum-free Lady Speed Sticks. So I'm going to start stocking up on these because I actually am down to hardly any deodorant at this point, and I need to stock up on that. But I want to try this first before I go and buy like 10 more of them. I need to make sure I actually do like them. But if, you know, that's something you should check into because that stuff's expensive. Del Monte and Hunt's. At the dollar store, they do have that Prego traditional in the jar, like the glass jar. And it's just like what you get at the regular grocery store. It's like $1 cheaper. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't analyzed it closely. Like it might be slightly smaller. But still, it's kind of nice to be able to get that Prego for only $2.99 instead of $3.99. Now, of course, look for sales at your regular grocery store if you like the Prego, or maybe there are different brands that you like, and that's fine. But I like the Prego, is my favorite. And so what I typically have been doing for a long time is I'll get like some of these Hunts and then I'll mix it with the Prego so I can stretch it a little further. But if you're making like a big container of like a whole thing of spaghetti, for example, you'll probably need 2 of these for like 1 thing of spaghetti. And this may be a little bit more than what you need for a whole thing of spaghetti, but if you have a little extra of this, you know, you could use it for other things or just maybe whatever. And I like these because they're only $1, and they actually taste pretty good. There's a lot of spaghetti sauce that I'm like, this tastes like barf. I don't even like it. So find the ones you like, but try these at the dollar store if you have not yet. And sometimes they have them on sale at the regular grocery store, I think, for these prices. And I bought all these different flavors because I'm trying to figure out which flavor I actually really like. So which one do I really want to stock up on? And because I've never really given it much thought. Like, all of them taste pretty good. So I'm just like, I don't remember which one I really, really like. So I'm going to like sit down and do an actual taste test and see which one I like. And then that'll be the one flavor I stock up on. And if I like all of them just equally, then I'll just, whenever I go in, I'll just grab whatever. And that's great. Okay. So this I got at, no, this isn't the one I got at Costco. I think I paid like $10 for this at Home Depot because I just needed it. And I don't have a Costco membership anymore. And I'm like, you can get these, something like about this size at Costco, this brand soft soap at Costco for like $6, unless they raise the price. And I used to buy those all the time. And actually, it was like a 2-pack or something for $6 or $7. I'm sure a lot of you that are Costco shoppers know what I'm talking about, but that was a good deal. And so like a couple of these things, depending on your household, could easily last, probably most households, a year to 2 years when you buy those 2-packs at Costco. And I just really like this type of product. So certainly go to Costco, or they have these bad boys, and I just got 2 of these because I really want to be stocked up on this stuff, because this could be something that's not available in the future, or it's very expensive to get. And actually, I mean, these are the best. I have looked, and this stuff is expensive. Like I said, I paid $10 for that at Costco. Do not like the price. I mean, I know in the long run it's not ridiculously expensive, but when you're trying to really stock up, you want to get the most for your money of stuff that you can actually use and like to use. So I thought this was a pretty good deal. And I do like to put these, like I said, in by my sink. I don't like using bar soap because it just kind of makes a big mess, and you know, I like the sanitariness of these, and they just don't make as big a mess. However, I am using regular soap in the shower because it is so cheap, and I'm going to stop using this in the shower. I mean, I used to use liquid soap, body wash, whatever. This is technically, this is technically a body wash. And if you buy that stuff, you know how expensive it is. So if you can't afford to stock up on the kind you really, really, really like, and I don't blame you, if you can afford it, get them. Like the stuff, you know, the designer stuff that smells really good and is just right for you. Get this. This is okay. You know, get some of that. And you could even mix this probably. Well, maybe not this one. The scent may not mix right, but you could mix this with the kind you really like. But okay, so in the shower, I have switched to using bar soap. Like, there's a bar soap. But I've been using soap on a rope because we don't really have a lot of places to put stuff in the shower. Like, we don't have like little shelves and stuff. And besides, the shelves get all gross and disgusting. And then it's just more to clean. It's a pain in the ass, like, regardless of whether there's an emergency going on. And so I've been using soap on a rope because I just have put hooks all around in my shower, and that's how we store almost everything that we can, is on hooks. And then some things, you know, you have to set like on the edge of the bathtub. And we did build some shelves up above the shower that we can keep like bottles and stuff, but I love keeping my soap on the rope hanging on the hook in the shower, because then it doesn't get all cruddy and gross in like the soap holder, and it just is so nice. And so I found this at the dollar store, and it'll exfoliate. You can put your soap in and hang this up, because soap on a rope is kind of expensive too. So this is like an alternative to soap on a rope, and I'm going to be buying like a grip ton of these, because this will probably wear out after a year or whatever. I mean, maybe it'll last 2 years if you're lucky. Here is another great item, and I probably shouldn't even be talking about it, but these have 6 blades. I bought them. They come in pink and blue. They're basically the same thing. And they work really good. And 2 for $1. So you could get like 12 of these. You could get 12 razors for $6. I can't believe they're not sold out. They don't have the prices listed on there. Anyway, so tomorrow I'm going to go back and buy a grip ton of these. I just wanted to make sure I knew that they were only $1 because I bought those before, but I didn't look at the price. And I was like, these do work really good. And I'm like, and I didn't look at the receipt and go, how much were those razors? I just bought them just to try them, and I did decide I liked them. And so today I just bought this one. So I could be like, how much are they? She was like, yep, they were only $1. And I'm like, oh boy. These are only $1. Toothbrushes. I like to change my toothbrush once a month, although I don't always do that, but people will probably be needing these, and you will want to stock up on these because it would really suck to run out of toothbrushes. Okay, and you can't get them. This peanut butter, I tried it, is just as good as like Jif or Skippy. I mean, I suppose if you are a peanut butter snob and you try this and you're just like, it's just not good. I think it's great. And I personally like the crunchy, and they have smooth, and it's $2. Now, keep in mind, peanut butter does not actually store that long. At least on the container top, it says it doesn't. And I don't know if that's just a lie to get you to buy more or what, but this is one of those things that doesn't store very long. I would check that Mormon website for food storage times. I think this could last longer than what they say on the container. And I've certainly kept them for longer. I'm like, this expired like 6 months ago. Still seems good to me. But a lot of times stuff can seem good, and it is like maybe something's wrong with it. I don't know. Maybe that's what's causing COVID, is people eating peanut butter that's expired. Oh God, I shouldn't be making jokes. Anyways, but I do like the prices on this. And again, I'm not stocking up on this. Like, I'm not going to buy 10 of them. I'm probably going to keep like maybe 3 of them in my storage. And then you want to rotate too. So like if everything's fine in another year, then you want to pull out all of the stuff that's like, it's like this that could potentially expire, and then replace them with new. So that when that disaster happens, the stuff that's in your storage is still good. So that's another thing you need to think about when you're doing food storage. These refried beans, they're the black beans. I really like refried beans. And I really like those jalapeno ones. But I wanted to try these because you get more bang for your buck. And I like the fact that it has this little opener thing. But $1, that's a lot of refried beans for $1. This will feed like 4 people easily, probably. Of course, you may not have tortillas unless you know how to make them. You might run out of tortillas real fast. It's hard to say. I don't know. This is another thing that if you lose the electricity, you better eat this up right away or share it with your neighbors. But you could use this as currency or a bartering item for people, with people. So like if for some reason the electricity goes out for a long time, or as the electricity goes out, you could choose to trade these or offer them as help to people and go like, here, cook this up because I have this in the freezer and it's all gonna go bad because we don't have refrigeration, so eat this up now. Kind of a thing. So I'm stocking up on these. They're cheap. This is $1 at the dollar store. This is like actually my favorite meat of this type of like junk food meat. Deli meat, I guess you could say. It's in that realm of deli meat, processed meat, whatever. I love sausage. and it's the cheapest thing on the market, so thank God. And it's available at the dollar store, and sometimes they're out, so pick some up. And I just bought like 5 of them. I want to keep about maybe 10 or 12 in my freezer at all times. And just depending on what happens, you know, if I can keep my electricity on and stay at home, and I just don't have any money to spend on anything hardly, and there's nothing available out in the world, I can have some of this like a couple times a month for 6 months. And then it's all over after that. But at least I'll have them. And then, like I said, bartering. This could be a good bartering item because most people like this stuff. Okay, oh, here's what the package for that soap thing looks like at the dollar store. Where did I put it for this? And it doesn't come with soap. And it's like an exfoliator thing. But you'll find it in the soap area. Okay, I talked about that. Okay, here. This is just really good for a lot of things, and I'm not going to get into it. And it's been really hard to find, and it's so crazy because this is one of the things that I've always been highly stocked up on. And last time I moved, I got rid of half of my stock of this, thinking no big deal because it's cheap to buy and readily available. And then as soon as I got rid of it and moved, because I literally just moved right before the pandemic, and excuse me, and I'm like, shoot, I got rid of half of my hydrogen peroxide. Now I can't get it. So I've been stocking up on this. Now this is kind of like a mini bottle, which I think is great because you can put well, I just have planned. I like the fact that it's small, but the thing I like about these, and they're at the dollar store, is these have these little squeeze top things. Not all hydrogen peroxide is like this. So you're less likely to waste it when you do use it. You can use it to disinfect surfaces. It does not work on metal, or it barely does anything to metal. It barely disinfects metal. Although most metals are typically non-bacterial anyways, or whatever, they don't have germs on them. But also this is really good to spray on your skin if you can put some in a spray bottle, or like I said, I use it on my countertop like 3 or 4 times a week. I just don't do it every day, but I put this in another bottle and I mix it with water, and then I store that under whatever's left after I use it. I just store it under the sink, and then I just pour a teeny tiny little bit in every time I use it because it will degrade over time. It probably degraded in that other container a little bit. So I just kind of keep recharging it, and that's how I use it most of the time. But you can also take that spray bottle and spray yourself down, and that's actually healing for you. And then, of course, you know, if you get a cut, pour this on it. Now, when you get cuts and scrapes and stuff, this is not something that you continually use. This is like what you do in the beginning to cleans a cut. Then after the cut, you've cleaned your cut with this, then you would switch to using something like the what is that antibiotic ointment stuff? Why can't I think of it? You know, those ointments that you put on cuts. And there's other uses for it too. Like you can also use it as like people were using this with COVID that couldn't breathe, or they were having the lung issues with their COVID. You could use this as like you inhale it. There's a word for it. I watched a video about it, and like a vaporizer. And so I need to learn about that, and I highly recommend you learn about that and stock up on this stuff because it's just so useful, and it's still pretty cheap. But there could come a time when this is not readily available. And I think it's the best disinfectant too. And you can use it with plants. I mean, so many uses for this. And it oxygenates you. That's why it's really good for COVID, because people they need oxygen. And they need something to help them breathe, and that can help you. Now, I normally buy real butter. However, it's more expensive than this cheap margarine. This could be and I think this lasts longer than butter, although butter lasts a long time too. I'm just going to be buying, this is only $1 at the dollar store, whereas the butter at the dollar store is like the same price as the grocery store. But this could be a good bartering thing. Or if you're making cookies, you know, the cookie is crap already. So use this stuff instead of the butter, and use the butter for different things. I mean, you make your own decision, but you know, it's just easier to stock up on something like this. I mean, if you're already eating this stuff anyways, it's $1 at the dollar store. I don't know how much it is at the regular store. I haven't bought it in years. I just thought, I don't remember them having this at the dollar store, because I don't really look that much for this. I don't really use these products a lot, but they are necessary, or they make some of the dishes taste good and they come in handy for that flavor, or using some kind of a method. And especially if you can bake, you know, this is actually a perfectly fine replacement in terms of getting good final results in baking, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you're probably not going to win awards, but it works. Also, you know, if you have all those macaroni and cheese boxes, and they have, I forgot to get it out. I forgot to get some of this today. They have this for $1 at the dollar store, and I need to stock up on some more of that. But I don't necessarily eat a lot of that, but you know, sometimes you need something milky to make certain dishes, or it's just nice to have, or other people just like it. And I'm planning on like stocking up on actual cereals, and a lot of the stuff I get not necessarily just because I like it, but I get stuff because I think other people will like it, because again, you could trade it, or you're feeding them, and if they don't want to eat your stuff that you like to eat, you can be like, here's a bowl of cereal, you know. And I think taking other people into consideration as you're collecting things, and thinking about, hey, this is something that I could easily share with people, so I'm going to get a little more. Or I don't necessarily like it, but here's a really great deal on it, so I'll take it for my preps, because you can trade it, or like I said, share it with people. Now, last thing, this is nothing that I got at the dollar store. If you've made it this far, if you do not know about home remedies for all kinds of things, these are some things that you should get. Now, Quercetin is an over-the-counter alternative to Ivermectin and Hydroxychloroquine. Now, my understanding is that Ivermectin and Hydroxychloroquine are hard to get. I mean, I haven't really looked or tried, but pretty much if you think you're going to go to the doctor and say, hey, can I get hydroxychloroquine? They're not going to give it to you. There's a 99% chance you're not going to get it, because they banned they don't want you to be treated, because they want you to be vaccinated. And there's more money in vaccinating the world than there is in treating 500,000 people. Think about it. But anyways, if you don't understand that, that's fine. I get it, but I just want to help you have stuff that you are going to need in the future. And so if you get COVID or any kind of disease that could be viral, you can take this. And if you aren't sick, you can take this as a preventative. Now, you want to take the quercetin, just like hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, along with zinc. And I think the liquid kind might be a little more absorbable.